people to stay home and to social distance is not enough. There is mounting evidence of social media, pictures of people packing onto beaches in Vancouver, for example. Why not invoke something stricter like the Emergencies Act? Why not, restrict people's civil liberties to protect their health?
Why not just take away everyone's rights? Why not invoke the Emergencies Act? Why not strip Canadians of their civil liberties? Are you guys hearing this? If you're surprised right now by these questions that are coming from the mainstream media, well, then you might not be aware of the fact that this entire thing is more scripted than a wrestling match. It's more choreographed than a ballet. Like, the mainstream media here is just a propaganda wing of the government, and it is their job to instill fear in the minds of the masses, but not only that, to condition them for the upcoming attack on civil liberties that is coming right around the corner in this country. So let's see how the Prime Minister answered this absolutely insane question.
There are many things that are being done and can be done at the local level, at the municipal level, and at the provincial level. The Federal Emergencies Act is a significant step that can and should be taken when we've exhausted all other steps at other orders of government, and the legislation and regulations available to the federal government do not respond or are insufficient to respond to the situation at hand. We continue to work very closely with provinces, with other jurisdictions, to make sure that they are able to do the things that need to be done. And we will continue to look at, if it's necessary, to move forward with the Emergencies Act.
Well, we've taken a close look at that already, and whether or not they're going to be moving forward with this act. As I covered in this video a few days ago, new emergencies measures will be coming from the Quarantine Act. This is not looking good for Canada. And what did I mean back then when I said this is not looking good for Canada? Well, what we're starting to see now, ladies and gentlemen, is things like this. Failing to self-isolate could put civil liberties in jeopardy. Had you warned, stronger measures to contain people in their homes is a possibility if guidelines are disobeyed. We also have this COVID-19 update for Canada. Businesses could face fines of upwards of $50,000, guys. That's the extent to which this is going. So we're going to cover that and much more in this video, guys, because this is leading to the big clampdown. I mean, we already have entire countries on lockdown, like Italy and Spain and Norway, and places like France are taking drastic measures. This is happening all over the world. And it seems that it's coming here in Canada too. We're not immune to this, folks. And it seems that tomorrow the Prime Minister is going to be making some announcements about what these new measures may be. So we're going to be talking about that and much more. So stick around, guys. But just before we do, I'd ask you to check us out here at pressfortruth.ca/donate if you appreciate the efforts of this channel to bring you this information. As you know, the mainstream media has their own slant on this, and we want to be able to provide you not with the fear state that they're constantly drumming up, but with solutions and things that we can proactively do to battle this current clampdown on society. So if that's something you appreciate, please check the links in the description right here on the screen or in the description below to find out how you can contribute to the efforts of this channel. All right, so this just out recently from CBC. This article really says a lot about what we're potentially facing in the very, very near future. It says here, the Health Minister, Patty Hadju, gave a stern warning to Canadians defying self-isolation orders on Saturday, saying that a failure to follow public health guidelines to limit the spread of COVID-19 could put our civil liberties in jeopardy. It makes governments have to look at more and more stringent measures to actually contain people in their own homes, Hadju said during a news conference attended by other cabinet ministers. Our freedoms around the measures that we're taking right now depend on people taking them seriously. Hadju urged Canadians to work together to contain the spread of COVID-19, which surpassed 1,200 confirmed cases across the country on Saturday. The federal government has advised Canadians to stay at home, limit their contact with others if they've been diagnosed with the virus, exposed to someone who has, or if they traveled outside the country within the past 14 days. The minister said that if people failed to abide by those recommendations, politicians and governments could be forced to consider stronger measures. I would encourage Canadians to think about that and to think about their obligation to act collectively right now. Hadju said, right now is our chance. Collectively is the is the word to pay attention here to, because what we're seeing globally is a move towards socialism, perhaps even a move towards all-out communism as a so-called way to deal with this pandemic. It's absolute insanity. Provinces and territories ramp up their measures. Hadju's warning comes as some Canadian provinces and territories have begun taking unprecedented steps to protect their borders, measures that would result in steep penalties if violated. The Northwest Territories will ban non-essential travel into the territory on Saturday, the same day it logged its first positive case. One positive case, and they are blocking all non-essential travel into the territory. Does it seem like a little bit of an overreaction to you? Well, that's what's been happening all around the world, guys, because this is a calculated move. This is a pre-planned agenda that we're seeing here on the total clampdown of society, the destruction of the economy, the destroying small and medium-sized businesses. This is all by design. And it's all in order to institute their agenda of a one world government, a one world cash system. These are the things I've been talking about for over 2 decades, my friends, and it seems they're using this to all out go for it. PEI's Chief Public Health Officer, Dr. Heather Morrison, announced enhanced screening measures for the province, including directing anyone coming in and out of the region, even from other parts of Canada, to self-isolate for 14 days. Check this out. Disobeying the order is punishable by law and could result in a fine of up to $10,000 and 6 months in jail, folks. If you don't think this is getting serious, there it is. Newfoundland and Labrador Premier Dwight Ball made a similar announcement for his province on Friday. Ontario, provincial police will fine both people and businesses if social distancing is not respected. A penalty that could set individuals back $1,000 and climb up to $500,000 for corporations simply for standing within 5 feet of another person. You can now be fined $1,000 for that. Quebec has already arrested someone for violating the quarantine. Here's the article on that. Quebec City police have arrested a COVID-19 patient for defying the quarantine. This is the first time we've executed this type of warrant, says a police spokesman. Quebec City police have arrested a woman who has tested positive for the coronavirus for being out in the city of Limoilou neighborhood despite being under the quarantine order. The woman, who is potentially contagious, was arrested at around 2 p.m. on Friday while she was out for a stroll by order of the regional public health authority. So on orders from the public health authority, this woman was arrested. It says this is the first time we've executed this type of warrant. The woman cooperated with police. She was transported to the hospital, according to Radio Canada. It's not clear yet if she's going to face charges, but we're already seeing it here in Canada. Some of the things that we're seeing around the world. We're seeing all-out martial law being instituted around the world. And, I don't want to contribute to the fear state that's going on right now in the mainstream media, but look, we have to face reality that they are positioning themselves to do similar things here in Canada. In fact, Trudeau's going to make some announcements tomorrow morning about new legislation and new measures that are going to be enacted. Like as if the Emergencies Act and the Quarantine Act are not enough. Guys, this is getting very, very serious. Had you said that each province and territory has its own Quarantine Act? I discussed that in this video here, guys. The link will be located in the description below if you want to, if you haven't seen that one yet. Says here it's within their jurisdictions to apply those. You can get significant penalties for any violations under that. There are very, very strong pieces of legislation that provide the various jurisdictions quite a bit of discretion in terms of how they will apply it and how they will assess the penalties. Another act that could come into play is the Emergencies Act, which could allow the federal government to put in place temporary measures to ensure the safety and security of Canadians during a national crisis, like prohibiting travel. Prime Minister Trudeau reiterated Saturday that no measures are off the table, but said that there are no immediate plans to invoke the act, which has never happened since it came into an effect in 1988. We do not see the Federal Emergencies Act as an essential tool today, but we are continuing to look at the situation and will make decisions based on the best recommendations of science, he said. Goldie Hyder, president of the Business Council of Canada, addressed a letter to Trudeau late Saturday, pleading for federal and provincial governments to act aggressively and within the United Front to keep Canadians inside their homes. Beginning immediately, all Canadians should be told, not asked or advised, to stay at home unless their jobs are essential or they leave the home to purchase food and any other necessities, Hatter wrote on behalf of business leaders across the country. So that's what's coming down the line for Canadians. You know, I warned about it when I interviewed my friend who's on the inside of the lockdown red zone in Italy under strict quarantine, when he informed me and everyone else in the world that they are under strict decree. They have to fill out paperwork in order to leave the house. They have to notify the government of where they're going, when they're going, the route that they're taking, and when they'll be back. And if they're found in the streets without their papers on them, they can be arrested. They can be fined of up to 200 euros or face potentially 3 months in prison. So this is a first world country, Italy, where this is going on. So, I mean, we really have to look at some of these countries in Europe and some of these other places that are being used as kind of blueprints and testing grounds right now for what I think is coming for essentially everyone. Look, this is not a nation state agenda. This is a global powers that ought not to be agenda. These are the guys who are pulling the strings and who have been for centuries, who are full out going for it now. As I said in the beginning of this video, the complete clampdown and destruction of not just health, but what I think are going to be larger ramifications is a complete crashing of the economy, which in the next couple of weeks, maybe even month from now, but probably in a couple of weeks, we're going to really start to feel the ramifications of what's happening today as people are not getting their paychecks. And, you know, I think at that point, it could trigger some more panic buying. It could trigger a run on the banks. As Trudeau said, nothing is off the table at this point. So it's important to be vigilant of these things and to take the necessary precautions. We're at the point now that businesses could face $50,000 fines, as we pointed out in this other article, but this one brings up some other points. It says anyone who ignores Vancouver's state of a local emergency declaration could receive a ticket and a stiff fine if City Council approves a recommendation supporting enhanced powers to enforce it. The Council votes later today on recommendations that would immediately impose fines of up to $50,000 on businesses violating the declaration. If approved, bylaw officers would also have the power to hand out $1,000 tickets to anyone not honoring social distancing requirements to stay at least 1 meter apart. Can you imagine, guys, being issued a $1,000 ticket for, you know, standing within a few feet of someone else here in Canada? Well, that's what we're coming to. You know, when I mentioned this a few weeks ago, people were also saying it's not going to happen. This is not possible here. But I think we're starting to see some of the things being put into motion here. I mean, they're talking about it in the media. They're prepping us for a loss of civil liberties. Trudeau already said he might invoke the Quarantine Act. He might invoke the Emergencies Act. In fact, these might not even be enough. Tomorrow he's going to introduce new legislation, and I can only imagine how draconian it's going to be, because as the days continue to move on, things continue to get crazier and crazier. So I just wanted to bring this one to your attention today, guys. It looks like they are going for a full clampdown on civil liberties here in Canada. It does look like they're going to be removing our ability to move, not only traveling, but also from our very own homes. We may soon be forced with strict lockdown and quarantine measures here in Canada. So, you know, don't panic, you know, relax, take a deep breath, but be prepared as well. You know, it's always been a good idea to have, you know, storable food and water and emergency preparedness things in your home. This is a good idea anyways. So at this stage in the game, my friends, I think it would be wise to start to prepare yourself and stay on top of the information. Just turn off your TVs, don't take it from the mainstream, and continue to tune into these alternative sites like Press for Truth, who are here bringing you the alternative information that you're not getting from the mainstream. So if you appreciate the info I'm bringing to the table today, please click the thumbs up button, guys. Share this video. Let everybody know that things are marching along. They're happening incrementally. If they went for this in one big fell swoop, people would rise up and they just wouldn't take it. They wouldn't stand for it. But since it's happening incrementally, like the frog boiling in the pot, people are not noticing just how bad it's getting until we're all going to be cooked. So please share this information if you found the info to be useful, and stay tuned, guys. We're going to have more video reports coming soon. This is Dan Dix reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.